Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. Welcome to my YouTube channel Value for Dynamics. This is my sixth video on blanket assembly order in my assembly order module series for the Business Central. If you are new to my channel, please watch my previous videos on assembly order to gain a better understanding of the assembly order topic. If you are expert in this area, I would really appreciate your feedback to help me to improve the content. So now let's jump into the Business Central and understand what is the blanket assembly order, how we can create in Business Central, and what are the usage of that. Before moving further, let's understand with the one slide. And if you can see that the first is the blanket assembly order, second one is the blanket sales order, and in the second right part assembly code and sales code. In previous session we already understand that how we can create the assembly code, and that is the basically uh, based on the sales code. Assembly code we cannot create directly, we can create through the sales code. And what are their benefits? Like a non-posting document is the assembly code, and sales code is the basically also non-posting document, and we can convert the sales order through or sales invoice through the sales code. And parallelly, once we are converting the sales code into the sales order, system will create the assembly order through the assembly code, right? So sales code we are creating for the assembly item, and we already know about what are the policies, main policies for the assembly order, which is required to do the setup on the item card. We already in the previous 4 to 5 sessions we understand that about that. So now in this session we will understand blanket assembly order. What is blanket assembly order? Like a blanket sales order, we are preparing the long term customer engagement, where suppose that we need to deliver some material in not a in one way one go, we have to some interval, take an interval to deliver the material, and every time it's not required to create the sales order. So we create the blanket sales order, and in case item in the sales blanket sales order line there is the item, and their policy is the uh, assembly to order. So whenever we are creating the blanket sales order, system will synchronize and create the blanket assembly order as well. Whenever we are converting blanket sales order into the sales order, system will also convert that quantity of item from the blanket assembly order to assembly order. So this is the assembly planning or item planning, long term planning, like a sales order. And this will be basically applicable for the A2O or ATS both, right? But in the normal business scenario, this is the basically more powerful for the assembly order, where assembly policies is assembly to order. So now we can see into the Business Central. This is the Business Central. We are on item list. So here there are two items. One I have created where policies is assembly to order, and another is the assembly to a stock, right? Assembly to a stock. First we will see how we can create the assembly uh, blanket assembly order based on the item where policy is assembly to order. So first as I have already discussed about how we can create the assembly or blanket assembly order, and that is the based on the blanket cells order, right? So I have to go into the blanket cells order. Now I have go to create the new. I am assuming that you are aware about the blanket cells order. So we have to fill the all the detail into the header part, and here if I can take a PR001, and then location I am taking as usual the east location, and here I am taking also the PR001, and here also I am taking the east location, right? Before moving that, as I talking about the suppose that we have a different shipment date, so based on the shipment date, system will create the uh, our sales order. So, and though this is the our assembly item, so whenever we are specifying here the quantity 10, system will parallelly creating the blanket assembly order. So how we can see that? In line we can go and see the assembly order, right? So this is the assembly item, component item. If you want to see the detail, we can see here the all the component and header. Here 9 um, number of the assembly blanket assembly order has been created. If I can go here, there is no option to create any or convert the a blanket assembly order to the assembly order. If I can go here into the date part, we can see that the based on the line part shipment date, starting date and ending date has been assigned automatically, and assembly to order is also showing here the document. Basically this is created from the blanket sales order, so that document is linked over here, right? So now if I can go into the second line and see that here I need to specify the quantity, and if I can go into the second line and see that these are the component item, the same component item, and the document of the blanket assembly order document is different here, and the date is starting date and due date is also defined based on the line shipment date. So if I can scroll down, this was the this is the basically a shipment date, and this is the our second line shipment date. So as of now only assembly order blanket assembly order created, because we have created a blanket sales order and item is basically our assembly item. If I can take the another item, right, and try to see that what are the differences, if I can put here, see there is the no assembly item, assembly blanket assembly created, because there is a no any linking between that. Now come into the another item, that is the PR, okay, and 002, this is the basically a stock item, not a uh, assembly to order. If I will put here the east, and if I am going to define the, again there is the no creation of the assembly blanket assembly order. Why? Because this is the stock item. If I need to create that the uh, assembly blanket assembly order, so we have to define here the quantity. Once I will define here the quantity, system will also create it the another 11. Okay, now Suppose we need to convert this blanket order into the uh, sales order, and we know, as I assuming that we know how blanket sales order will be working. So once I will convert this blanket order to the sales order, system will parallelly created the assembly order based on our uh, blanket assembly order, right? So let me take the first one, and here what I am going to do, I am going to do just deleting the one item which is not available right now. So just I am deleting this one. Okay, so let me convert the first item, and here the quantity to ship is the 10. So I need to make a 21, and let me go into the order, and 21 is there. And if I will click over here, see, there is the 3 line has been created, and see on the first line, if I can see the assembly, see there are only 3 items. If I can go here and see the assembly order here, and this is the basically created based on the sales order. This is our sales order, right? So if I can go into the second line and check that what is the assembly order is there, see there these are the four items. Now the third line, so there is the 2 I, and if I can go here I can see that. Now how we can track the order and another, um, if I want, I need to check that the blanket order, I can click over there, and sales blanket order is here, and through that if I can go here the line part and wanted to check that the assembly, see 11 is there, blanket assembly order, right? So basically, and if I can go into the status, status is a still open, and blanket, let we can check that blanket assembly, see these are the assembly order still open. Now what I can do, I can go into the blank sales order, this is the sales order, and I am going to ship the first line, and rest other line I am going to keep as it is hold. Here I am keeping the 5, and this one I am going to, and then let's see what is happening. Post it. If there is the item tracking and something, system will stop the posting. So 0, this is the asking for the our lot assignment. Okay, so let me make it 0 and then post it. See, first line has been saved. So if I can go here and see the first assembly order, 10 quantity. Now assembly quantity, that is the 0, right? Because assembly order is here, right? And there is the no any another tracking how we can track that. So for here, if I can, for the sales order, if I can go into the blanket order and then check that what are the quantity has been posted. So first ship quantity is shipped. If I can check over there, order is this one, and posted line shipment we can find out this one is the shipment. If I can go into the second line and check that the shipment, there is also shipment, but with the only the first line, there is the not a second line quantity. Okay, and if I can go into the third shipment, there is also the same document number is showing there, right? So this is the once I will post the invoice, same document number. So if I will go back and then do the invoicing of the first line, quantity to invoice this one and putting the 0 and then post it. Now first line has been posted, and let me go and see the first line. 10 quantity shipped, and if I can go here the line, see invoice has been created. Okay, so unposted, posted invoice. So all about the blanket order. So we can create the blanket order, blanket assembly order through the blanket sales order, and there the linking between the blanket sales order to blanket assembly order. If I can go into the blanket assembly order and wanted to check that the this one, and quantity consumed, right? And these are the quantity. So this document is still uh, just standing because we are still some of the line is not posted. Once line is posted, then it should be just deleted. So this is the all about the blanket sales order and the blanket assembly order. You can uh, understand and do the some another transaction. You can see the better understanding, better approach based on your business scenario. This is the basic concept how we can create the uh, blanket assembly order. If I can go into the blanket assembly order and want to create a new blanket assembly order, we cannot create the blanket assembly order. Though if there is the blanket assembly order, we can modify. Though there is nothing, we can only change the line and other details only. There is no option to do the like converting into the blanket from the blanket assembly order to the assembly order. So thank you. I hope this will be add some value in your learning. Keep learning, and thank you so much for watching my video. I will try to make another video over the assembly order where using the warehouse scene. These are the up to till date 6 videos I have created, and these are the only without the warehousing. So thanks for watching.